Your best idea might be the one you keep brushing off. And I'm guilty of this too. I will get an idea and almost immediately start picking it apart, thinking about how somebody else has probably already done this. It can't be that special. Nobody's going to listen. Nobody will watch. And then I'll go right back into trying something new or looking for something new or the next new thing. I think a lot of us do this without even thinking. Sometimes the problem isn't that we don't have ideas, it's that we don't think our ideas are valuable, if that makes sense. I've noticed it so much since I've been building my website. That's soauntsusie.com. There's times I will sit down and think, what am I going to write? What am I going to say that people haven't already heard or that somebody hasn't already said? And that's where I get myself into trouble. I start looking at what everybody else is doing. Videos are getting the most views. What's the trending? What are people selling? What is it that people seem to have figured out that I don't? I go down that rabbit hole. Honestly, sometimes I get so invested in what everybody else is doing that I kind of lose sight of my own content. I'll tell you what, some of the best things that I've created haven't came from sitting down and just thinking, what am I going to create? They've just come from everyday life, my real experiences. It may have been a conversation I had, something I was thinking about, something that irritated me, any number of things. More than likely, it was probably a mistake I made or something I learned the hard way. And sometimes the things that come natural to us doesn't feel valuable to us. Maybe you're the person that everybody calls when they need something. You know how to stretch a little bit of groceries for a week. Maybe you can walk into a cluttered room and just kind of know instantly where everything should go. Maybe you're good at explaining things in a way that makes sense. Maybe you can decorate a home without spending a fortune. Maybe you make things that people are always asking you to make. And when people look at you and say, you should really do something with that, you kind of just laugh it off because it comes just so naturally to you. I mean, because you've been doing it forever, sometimes maybe for your whole life. And that's exactly why you might be overlooking it. It's funny, we tend to measure how successful something is by how difficult it was for us to learn. And that's not a good way to measure things. Because let's face it, just because something's easy for you doesn't mean it's easy for everybody. And just because you know something doesn't mean that everybody else knows it. Just because your idea may feel ordinary to you, it may be just the thing that somebody else has been looking for, trying to figure out. I also think we have this idea that a good idea has to be completely original. Like nobody in the history of the world can ever have done anything even remotely similar. Well, good luck with that. Because, honey, there's a lot of people in the world. At some point, somebody has probably done something similar to the thing that you want to do. And that's okay. That doesn't mean you shouldn't do it. There are millions of people cooking dinner on the internet. There are millions of people talking about relationships on the internet. There are millions of people decorating houses, talking about money, telling stories. We still watch different people doing those very similar things. Why? Because we're not just interested in the subject, we're interested in the person talking about the thing or doing the thing. Their experience, their perspective, their personality, the way they explain. That's the part that nobody can duplicate. And I've had to remind myself of that more than once, many, many times actually, because comparison will have you abandoning perfectly good ideas just because somebody else may have come up with a different version of it first. Or we might think that's not even enough to do anything with. But what if it is? What if it is enough? What if that one little idea could lead to another idea and then another one? That's actually how a lot of things grow, just by taking that first step and then the next step and then the next. And not because somebody sat down one day and laid out their whole entire future in that setting. They probably noticed one thing, one goal, and then they pursued it. They followed it. That's kind of how I do my website. One idea turns into an article. The article then turns into a That's So Aunt Susie call. That call or video creates another conversation. Somebody might leave a comment that makes me think of something differently. And then I have a whole nother idea. That's why I've started paying attention to those little thoughts instead of immediately disregarding them. Because I don't always need to know that the idea is going to turn into something. I just need to stop throwing the ideas away, like before they have a chance to do anything or become anything. And I think that goes with a lot of areas in your life. If you're trying to make extra money, or if you want to start creating content, maybe you're just trying to figure out what you want the next chapter of your life to look like. And you're sitting there thinking, what can I do? I don't have any ideas. I don't have any special talent. And before you decide that you have nothing to offer, I want you to take a look at your life and what you've lived through and what you have faced and overcome. Take a look at those things that life made you figure out because you didn't have any other choice. Those are going to be the things that I want you to pull from. And think about what you can do now that would have helped the person you were 5 or 10 years ago. And then speak to that person. Those ideas that keep coming back to your mind, stop pushing those away. They keep coming back for you. And instead of asking yourself, why would anybody be interested in this? Start asking yourself, what can I do with this? Can I create something from this experience or this mistake? If today's conversation helped you and you'd like to go a little deeper, I have written an article over on my website at that'ssoauntsusie.com, and it's called You May Be Overlooking Your Best Ideas. And if conversations like this encourage you and help you feel a little less alone, I'd love to have you subscribe to the channel so you don't miss the next call. And hey, tell me, what's something that you have just always done, never thought was a big deal, or that you never thought was worth monetizing? Let me know in the comments. I bet you'll realize they were a lot bigger deal than what you really initially thought. Here, I simply share what I've lived, what I've learned, and what I hope will help somebody else on their journey. And hey, if you're struggling, pull up a chair. We'll figure it out together.